You are not an organism in an environment. You are an environ-organism. One of the reasons the idea of being able to manifest is so foreign to most of us is because we have been brought up to believe that as individuals, we are separate from our environment. We think it is our role to dominate it. Armed with this kind of logic, we are diminished in our ability to sense our connection to the environment. This third principle of manifesting begins with the understanding that it is absolutely impossible to describe ourselves as separate from our environment. I am coining a new word for the purpose of articulating this principle. Consider yourself an environ-organism. This word signifies that there is absolutely no difference between you and your environment. You are your environment, and even more significantly for the purposes of this tape, your environment is you. Try thinking of the external world, your environment, as your extended body. That is, you are not separate from the external world. In this concept, it is impossible to describe yourself without including your surroundings. In fact, it is not even possible to see or hear yourself as a separate entity apart from your environment. For example, describe yourself walking, just you walking. There cannot be walking without also describing what it is you are walking upon. Without the floor or the ground, there would only be your legs moving back and forth, and of course that's not walking. Your experience of walking also includes the air you are breathing, the gravity that keeps you from floating off into space, the pebbles or carpet or sand or cement that you walk upon. And I invite you to shift your awareness away from yourself as an organism in the environment to yourself as an extension of your environment and always inseparable from it. This means that you have to think of yourself as an individual and as an environment simultaneously. Have you ever seen a person with a front but without a back? Have you ever seen a person with an outside but without an inside? Well, these rhetorical questions are meant to stimulate you to consider how you can be differentiated and undifferentiated at the same time, and why this is important in learning to manifest your life as you choose. The nature of the physical world is essentially that of waves. Each wave of energy that makes up a physical mass has a crest or a peak and a nadir or a valley. These tops and bottoms of the waves are always easy to identify as separate, yet they are always together. You can never ever get a bucket full of peaks and observe them independent of their corresponding valleys. This is the fundamental feature of nature. Your front always has a back, your inside always has an outside. And now you must extend this understanding outward as well. You are distinct, just like the tops of the waves that make up your natural physical self, but you are irrevocably connected to the outer world, just as that bottom of the wave always has a top. When you begin to see this simple truth, mystical experiences of manifesting also open up to you as a genuine possibility. You see, you're either pushing nature around, or you're seeing it as yourself, one or the other. When we think of ourselves as distinct from our environment, we take on a posture of exercising control over it. We destroy forests and swamps and mountains and rivers and wildlife or anything else that obstructs profit and convenience over something we call advancing civilization. We defend these activities without understanding that we are also destroying ourselves. As we have seen, we cannot be described independent of our environment any more than our outside can be described without our inside. When we can respect that which appears to be external to us, we will build to live in harmony with, rather than in control over, our environment. In our personal lives, recognizing nature as ourselves opens up an entirely new world of manifestation. Your new faith will no longer permit you to see anything as separate. The separateness will always be there, just as the peak of the wave is separate from the trough. But they remain inseparable, even while separate. You will have fused the dichotomy that prevents you from putting this connective energy to work. You will begin to view yourself as an organic part of this world, rather than as a separate entity in this world. And then you'll see yourself as an organic part of this world. There's a popular belief that we come into this world. Thus, we are continuously embracing the idea that who we are and where we come from are two different worlds. The essence of the third spiritual principle for manifesting your destiny is that there is no separation, and rather than coming into this world as a construction project, you actually grow out of it. You are a result of what the universe is doing on a conscious level, just as a wave is what the ocean is doing, and a plum is what the plum tree is doing. The intelligence that is you, unseen as it may be, is you in every stage of your creation and life experience, and it is also the same in every other person, as well as in all things in our physical world. Notice that everyone breathes the same air, walks on the same ground, and thinks as an organism just like you. You are indeed connected to all of these beings. It is not an accident that someone living in a distant country with different outward physical characteristics and a separate language could die and donate their liver or kidney or cornea to you, and it would accommodate the life force flowing in you. A profoundly important Native American saying is, "No tree has branches so foolish as to fight among themselves." Imagine the result of such behavior by the tree. The tree and all of its parts would die from such an absurdity. Yet that is precisely what we do when we see ourselves as divided from all of the other people who are being peopled from the same divine intelligence. When you know that you grow out of this world just as an apple does from an apple tree, then you identify with the spiritual essence. It is in identification with this inner essence that you make your connection to everything else. And it is with this connection that you begin to attract your desires to your physical world. That power is in you, but it's not yours alone. The power and the magic of this world cannot be reserved for the exclusive use of anyone, including you. It is available at all times. However, it does not belong to anyone. What you are doing as an environed organism is making contact with an energy that is beyond the dualism of the earth plane, and yet is connected to it at the same time, separate but distinct. You are a holistic being with both non-dualistic energy and the energy of the physical plane at your disposal. The Bhagavad Gita, the holy book of the Hindus, summarizes the point of view as profoundly as I've ever heard. Listen to these words. He who sees that the Lord of all is ever the same in all that is, immortal in the field of mortality, he sees the truth.